Hope everyone's having a good morning. I'm Dr. Andrae, Townsel, Superintendent of Calvert County Public Schools. And as you know, all saints should know, this is the third opportunity I have the privilege to speak to the congregation on some back to school schedule. So let me just say this. It's a new school year, new notebooks, new backpack, new haircut, new shoes, new clothes, same you. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, change is inevitable, but progress is optional. Everyone wants better for themselves. Everyone wants better in their lives. I have the privilege of sharing with the community. I have the privilege of leading, and it's set the bar, meet the bar, exceed the bar, and raise the bar. The problem with that is most people want better, but a lot of us have a hard time doing better. Every January 1, everyone's committed to change, committed to excellence. But the problem is there's a difference between commitment and conviction. And what conviction is a belief that shapes your behavior. It's a belief that is so strong that it determines how a person acts. For example, in Deuteronomy 5:29, it says that conviction is something a person will die for, unlike an opinion that is discussed or argued about. When I was coming up in Detroit, they used to say, do or die. It's inevitable. Do or die. The time is coming. Change is going to happen. But in order for things to change, you must change. The problem is a lot of us in a lot of situations are very comfortable. The alarm clock goes off and you still hit the snooze. You still hug the pillow. It takes time to get up. Sometimes you decide that you're going to run late. But change is inevitable, progress an option. In order to get better, you must get better. Let me share this with you. I need everyone to raise your right hand as high as you can. Now raise it higher. You may put it down. Now I know the first thing I said was raise your right hand as high as you can. And then when I said raise it higher, we all went up a little higher. So the question is, why didn't you do it on the first time? You heard the direction the first time, but it was a little something that said, I'm gonna give it this much. And when I asked you to take it higher, you took it up a notch. So that's what I mean when I say raise the bar. Yeah, things are good, but things aren't great. Yeah, things are great, but things aren't phenomenal. There's always something better that we can do. There's always a little extra that you can go. I learned a long time ago that there's no traffic jams when you go the extra mile. So I'm asking everyone, I don't care if you're a young person, I don't care if you're a seasoned individual, raise the bar, go the extra mile. Let me tell you, a lot of times, the reason why it is difficult for us to be as best as we possibly can is because sometimes it's the foundation we have set for ourselves. I had the opportunity of watching CNN a while back, and they talked about the Millennium Towers. And the Millennium Towers is the highest structural residential building in California since San Francisco. It's 52 stories high. It has movie theaters in the building. It has bowling alleys in the building. Joe Montana, Hall of Fame quarterback, has a resident in the building. One time there was a couple who paid $3 million for the building, for their unit. And while in the building, the gentleman dropped the marble on the ground and it rolled from one end of the other all the way back. And he said, whoa, honey, wait, did you see that? She said, no, show me. He dropped the marble, it rolled all the way down, and it came all the way back. So they were alarmed. They said, what is that about? They called the architects, they called the engineers, they called the construction company, and what they found out is that the building was leaning 17 degrees. They said, how is that possible? A building of this magnitude, beautiful building, all the planning that went into it. They said, well, the issue is when we built this building, we went down 2,000 feet. The problem is, for a building of this magnitude, of this structure, we should have went down 5,000 feet. Because at 2,000 feet, it was only sand, gravel, and clay. But if we've gone 5,000 feet deep, we would have hit that bedrock. The question is, how strong is your foundation? Because some of us are going into the new school year on sand. Some of us are going into our new diet programs on gravel. Some of us are going into new relationships on clay. On the Millennium Tower, the building was tilting 17 degrees, and over time it started tilting at 22 degrees. And then the engineers and architect had to put scaffolds in place to go all the way down to secure it to bedrock, which means that the building would not be salvaged. It can still be saved. So the question is, what more do you have to do to get the foundation you need to be as strong as you possibly can? The Millennium Towers. When I talk to young people, I talk often about the social and emotional learning core competencies, and there are 5 of those, but I think they also apply to parents, because while we're asking our young people to come to school to be the best version of themselves that they possibly can, there's some things that we as adults must do as well too. That first core competency is self-awareness. We ask our young people and our adults, what do you bring to the table? The ability to self-assess. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What can you do? What can you not do? Self-awareness. The second is self-management, regulating your emotions, being calm in the storm of crisis, not letting anyone get you out of character. Self-management, controlling yourself, controlling your anger. That third core competency is social awareness, understanding what's going on in the community in which you live, in the school that you attend, in the classroom, in your personal life, socially aware. The fourth is relationship skills, learning how to get along with one another, treating people the way you want to be treated, using social media responsibly, learning how to interact, having the social skills. And the very last core competency, ladies and gentlemen, is responsible decision making. I believe all of our young people know what's right and what's wrong. And even as adults, we know what's right and what is wrong. But we have the ability of freedom in decision making. So I'm asking us to decide to always do what's right at all times. But the question that you ask yourself is, do I trust myself to do the best that I can do at all times? You have the freedom, but do you trust yourself to lead yourself? Is your foundation strong enough to stand any test of time? Because if you're on sand, if you're on gravel, and if you're on clay, ladies and gentlemen, you will be exposed to the elements. Let me tell you a little story I learned about trust. Trust is a very powerful word. There was water, there was fire, and there was trust. And they journeyed all into a forest. And the individual that was with them said, hey, wait, we're going into the jungle. Well, water, if I lose you, what do I do? Water said, hey, listen, if you can't find me, wherever you see grass growing, that's where I'll be found. Fire said, listen, if you don't find me, if you lose me, wherever you see smoke in the sky, that's where you find me. Trust said, hey, wait, listen, I'll be honest. You have to keep your eye on me, because if you lose me, I may not be found ever again. Trust is very powerful. We talk about trusting each other. The question is, do you trust yourself enough to do what you're supposed to do to get the rewards that you have to get for yourself? Everyone wants the prize. Everyone loves the prize, but not everyone loves the process. And the process is difficult and the process is hard. The process is a grind. But I'm asking you not to wish that it was easier, just wish that you were better. Don't wish that it was less challenging, wish that you had more skill. Don't wish that it took less problems, wish that you had more wisdom. And don't wish that it took any less work, wish that you had more work ethic. And if it's tough and if it's difficult, the response to that is do it hard and do it in a difficult manner. You have to earn it. There's a book called The 4 Agreements by Miguel Ruiz. And the 4 Agreements is something that I ask young people to not only read, but also adults, and ask you to channel that. The very first agreement I'm asking you to make with yourself is be impeccable with your word. Do what you say you're going to do. Show up when you say you're going to show up. Produce what you say you're going to produce. Be impeccable with your word. The second agreement to make with yourself is do not take anything personally. And I understand, listen, the most beautiful sound in the whole wide world is the sound of your own name. But I'll be honest with you, it's not personal. Do not take it personal. When it gets hard, when it gets tough, don't take it personal. The third agreement, do not make any assumptions. The facts are the facts. The numbers are the numbers. It is what it is. Do not make assumptions. And the very last agreement to make with yourself is always try your best. There's a slogan I remember that says, good, better, best, never let it rest till your good is your better and your better is your best. So ladies and gentlemen, always try your best. The journey of a graduate, you're going to be on a journey this academic year. And we ask all of our young people to have these 5 core skills. And I think it's important for our adults to learn those skills as well so you can enforce what we're asking our young people to do. The very first thing, young people, be engaged citizens. Take advantage of enrichment opportunities, because what I learned growing up in the city of Detroit, Michigan, is that an idle mind is a devil's workshop. Get busy. Get busy doing things for you. The very next thing is be an empowered learner. There's information at our fingertips, from artificial intelligence all the way back to Google. It seems old now, but Google. Information at your fingertips. I don't know if you remember, but there's something called Encyclopedia Britannica. That was at my fingertips when I was coming up in school. But right now you have all types of artificial intelligence. You have all sorts of internet access to the World Wide Web. Be an engaged learner. Be an empowered learner. Next, be a communicator. I understand technology is here and we're always holding down and we talk by text. But also learn how to talk face to face. Learn how to make people feel well. People know how you make them feel. Learn how to interact. Show your beautiful personality. Be a collaborator. Teamwork makes the dream work. And very last, ladies and gentlemen, be a critical thinker. Because with all the information, all the technology, you still be able to think for yourself. The only issue that I have with the technology today is that everyone have all the answers, but it's hard to show your work. So learn how to show your work. Let me say this when it comes to hard work again. I'm not only asking you to work hard in your studies, work hard on your job, working hard as a parent, but long and short, ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking you to work harder on yourself than you do on the job. If you should be walking around the block eating an apple every single day for your good health and you do not do it, ladies and gentlemen, that's a recipe for disaster. If you should do it, you could do it, and don't do it, disaster. If you should do it, could do it, then do it, and it shall come to pass. And I'm asking you to do it without complaint, because the goal is better over time. Do it without complaint. I believe that the Bible has several passages about complaining. Numbers 11:1 said, the Lord is displeased when people complain, and his anger is kindled. The fire of the Lord burns among them and consumes some outlying parts of the camp. Matthew 20, verse 11 says, after receiving their pay, they began to grumble against the bank owner. James 5:9, do not grumble against one another, brothers, so that you may not be judged. Ephesians 4, verse 29, let no corrupting talk come out your mouths, but only such as good to building people up. Philippians 2:14, Paul says, do everything without complaining and arguing. In order for things to happen positively in your lives, ladies and gentlemen, you have to make it happen by the grace of God. In order for things to change, you must change. In order for things to work, you must work. Because faith without works is what? You know that. Let me end on this. Because I just said some things. And you probably got fired up, you probably got motivated, you probably felt a nugget here and there, and then you leave, you go off, you go home, and then the week comes. But I ask you to remember this verse, James 1, verse 22 to 25. It says, "Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror and after taking a look at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in all that they do." And with that, I will park my bus. Thank you. Have a great school year.